Right, okay, here we go. So good morning. We're going to start, we're still working on the shoulders, we're still working on the balance. So, and just loosening up the lower back. The lower back is always going to be a focus on this class as well. So we start there, and we probably finish there as well. So what I'd like you to do is to start lying down, please. So if you could just come to lying down on your back, but with the knees bent. Oh, I think Blue's coming in. Oh, no, he's not. He's just walking towards them and he was like, no, I'm not coming in. So, yeah, if you could just lie down, see how your back feels, settling the head, and please bring the knees into the chest. And what I'd like to do is just to start off, just simply rolling from side to side, but not too fast. So going from side to side. And just noticing how that feels on your back. So going from side to side. I'd like to pay particular attention to the side of your back, where the quadratus lumborum is. So right on the side of the lower back. And then come back into the middle space and take the feet to the floor. Now, what I should have said is to have your balls handy. So if you could now just get your pair of balls, if you've got two. If you've only got one, put it on the right side, please. And then just lift your hips up and then take both of the balls or one of the balls to the side of the waist. So one ball, right hand side. It could be a tennis ball as well. That would work really well as well if you haven't got one. But just settling. Now you're trying to get the ball above the back of the pelvis, below the rib cage. And it may be there's a bit of a space issue there, so which is why you might need one of the smaller balls. Bottom is off the floor. So bottom is off the floor, and you're just going to settle there for a moment. So it feels like you're in a sling. I think it always feels really nice and comfortable at the beginning of this bit. But then you're going to lean your knees over towards the right. So lean the knees over towards the right, and you should be now resting on the right side. And then move around. If you're not quite on that QL area, move the ball around. So you're just leaning over to the right. So this is sort of a bit faster than we have done in the past today. And then come back up through the centre. If you've only got one ball, you're going to shift the ball over towards the left. And then lean over your knees over towards the left now. And just again, adjust the position of the ball so you're right on the side of the waist. If you're finding that there's something else that's signalling to you, you might want just to go towards there. So maybe move down a fraction, but just see. So leaning over to the left. So awareness if one side is a bit more challenging than the other, a bit tighter than the other. And then come back through the centre and then repeat that. So again, you might need to shift the ball over, move the ball over to the right side. And then what I'd like you to do is to straighten your right leg and actually lie on your right side. So you're just going a little bit further. So stacking the hips and the shoulders and just literally lie on the side of the waist. So you've gone from the back of the side of the waist on the right side to the side of the waist on the right side. And you don't need to do anything else. That's all we're doing on this. We're just lying on the side. And then we're going to move to the other side in just a moment. So come back slowly onto your back, bending both knees. If you've got one ball, move it over towards the left. Lean the knees to the left. So you might not be quite there yet if you've had to adjust the ball. So you lean the knees to the left. Then we'll begin to straighten your left leg. And then you're going to roll onto your side. It's not a big movement, it's literally just a roll onto your side like you're rolling over in bed. But the ball, I'm using quite a big ball, so if you're unsure, it's more easily for you to see on me. But it's right on the side of the waist, above the pelvis, below the ribs. So just leaning into it, creating space in the side of the ribs. And then what I'd like you to do is just to slowly come out. Bend both knees as you exit. Lift up off the balls and then just roll those balls out of the way. Take your bottom down to the floor and then please bring your knees in towards the chest. And then again, rock from side to side. And just notice how that feels. Come back into the middle, taking the feet to the floor. And then hands resting on the abdomen. As you inhale, arch your back, creating space across the abdomen. And then as you exhale, flatten the back. And then try to pause here. You can breathe, it's fine, but I'd like you to pause and think about drawing the tummy in and then slightly up. So anyone that's familiar with Uddiyana Bandha, it's a feeling of that, but obviously you can hear I'm not struggling to breathe in any way, shape or form. So it's not a full-on Uddiyana Bandha where you suck the tummy in and up and you can't breathe and there's a vacuum there. This is just an engagement into those muscles. So in and up. When you come to your next inhale, arch your back, tilt the pelvis forward, and then you're going to go again. So you're going to flatten the back, tuck the tailbone, and then scoot the tummy in and up. So it's a real hollowing out of the belly feeling. And then again, inhale to arch, tilting the pelvis forward, and then exhale to flatten, to scoot the belly in and up. And then relax from that, taking the hands behind the head. What I'd like you to do is to inhale, arch the back, tilt the pelvis forward. And then as you exhale, flatten the back and then float the head and the shoulders up, looking forward. Lower yourself down again, nice and slow. Just going to do 3. So you inhale to arch, let the elbows go wide. As you exhale, flatten the back, float the head and the shoulders up, looking forward. Again, inhale to arch, tilting the pelvis forward. As you exhale, flatten, lift the head and the shoulders up, curling up. Now stay here, but release your left arm forward. And then do a little side shift. So you're reaching your left fingertips forward. You're contracting the left side of the waist. If it feels compressing, just go easy on it. So maybe limit the movement. Come back to the middle. And then you reach your right arm forward, lifting up as high as you can, and then do a little side shift. Holding there with the back, pressing down into the floor and the tummy in. Come back to the middle. Slowly release the head and the shoulders down. Again, arch your back. And then 3 times we're going to go on the diagonal. So you lift your head and shoulders up, twist to the left, bring your left knee in to touch your right elbow, and then you lower down. Inhale to arch and then exhale to flatten, curl, twist to the right, elbow to knee and lower down. Again, tilt the pelvis forward. As you exhale, lift the head and the shoulders up, twist to the left, bringing the left knee in to touch the right elbow. Lower the foot, the head and the shoulders down. Arch your back and then exhale and lift, twist to the right. We're only going to do 1 more round, but this one is going to be a held one. So you inhale to arch, exhale to lift, twist to the left. Now hold it, pressing the elbow and the knee together if you have the connection. Holding for 5, 4, tummy draws in, 3, 2 and 1, and then lower yourself down. Again, arch your back. And then go again on the other side. So you're lifting the head and the shoulders up, twist to the right, and then the elbow and the knee touch. You press them together for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower the foot, the head, and the shoulders down. Keep the hands behind the head if you can bear it, if it's not too uncomfortable. And then let the feet go right to the outside edge of your mat and drop the knees over towards the left. So nice and flat. And then what I'd like you to do is to pick the knees up and then take the knees over to the right. And then bring the knees up, take the knees over to the left, lengthen away the right knee, please. And then again, lift up and take the knees over to the right. So as again, it's paying a little bit of attention to the QL area, that side of the waist. And then lift your knees up, walking the feet back to being hip distance apart. Just staying there for a moment. We're going to do a rolling bridge. So what I'd like you to do is let your arms go alongside the body. And then as you inhale, arch the back to prepare. As you exhale, start to roll the back up, but super slow, not particularly high. So lift the hips up, coming up onto the shoulders. And then lower yourself slowly down. Relax the shoulders as you go all the way down. Go right down to the tailbone again. So you arch. And then you flatten. Scooping the tummy in. And then lift, push down to the feet to lift the hips up a bit higher. So second time a bit higher. Rolling down. So it's continual, very dynamic movement. Arch your back. Tilt the pelvis forward. And then lifting up. Lifting up into bridge. Now hold your bridge now. Maybe bend your elbows. It's quite interesting if you bend your elbows like you're doing an impression of a steam train. You push your upper arms down into the floor, and then that might take your hips up a little bit higher than you're used to. So a little bit of a feeling of a half shoulders down there. So it's that open into the chest. Just hold steady there. So using your arms to assist your bridge lift. And then begin to just relax everything down. All the way down, right down to the tailbone. And then as you start to flatten the back, please bring the knees into the chest. Hug the knees in towards the chest and then rock from side to side. Now what I'd like you to do is to rock forward and back. Or you can, or you can go onto your side and come up to seated. So you just do a couple of rocks along the length of the spine. If your back feels up to it today, it may well not. The next time you come up, I'm going to do boat pose. So coming up, lift the shins, try and feel the hip flexors there, and then take the arms forward. And just lifting, holding. So you might choose to take hold of the back of the knees today. Just hold steady there for a moment. And then slowly lower the feet, but keep them quite a distance away from the hips. Knees just drop out to the side, and then you lean forward. So it's the first bit on the hips. That's it. So nice and easy. That's it. That's good. So just lean forward. Just noticing how things feel. Then we're going to come up, we're going to do boat pose again. So lift. Good. Take the hands behind the knees. Good. Lift the chin. Lift the chest. Slide the hands forward and hold there. So, but pull the tummy back. So it's a feeling of in and up with the tummy. In and up. Not great if you've had breakfast, but I'm presuming that no one has. So in and up. And then again, lower your feet. Take the knees wide and fold forward. Going into the hips a bit more this time if you can. So try and push into your hips or open. Let your hips open. So then from here we're going to come up. Close the knees and then straight into cat pose. So a little bit less time deliberately on our backs today. So I've taken one of the balls over to the left side, so it's ready to do the side stretch. You only need one ball, but you can have two balls, one on each side if you prefer. Push down into the hands, lift between your shoulder blades, and then engaging into the core, take the chest forward. Take an inhale there. As you exhale, tuck the toes, round the back, allow the chin to come to the chest. Look towards your knees, look towards your thighs, maybe even look towards the navel. So really tucking in. Draw the chest forward, inhale. And then as you exhale, tuck the toes, round the back, allow the chin to come to the chest, push into your hands. Again, inhaling, coming forward. And then exhale, tuck the toes, round the back, chin to the chest. Sit back on your heels just for a little stretch into the toes. So put some weight into the feet now. So just a couple more breaths there. Just let things stretch out. Rounding the back, tucking the chin, stretching your feet. What I'd like to do is to walk your hands in towards your knees. Now you could be, I'm going to kneel down. You might be kneeling up at this point, but all that matters is that the toes are tucked and you're trying to really sort of push into flexibility in the feet. Just take a little roll into your shoulders, rolling into the shoulders, and then let the arms go wide. We're going to do eagle arms with the arms, so cross the right arm underneath the left, wrapping the arms, and then let your hands connect to your forehead. As you inhale, lift the elbows up, arching the back a little bit, and then as you exhale, tuck the tailbone, curling, and then drop those elbows into the chest. So it's not really about the core, this is about, obviously it's going to be about your toes, but it's about the shoulders as well, creating space in the back of the shoulders. And then lift yourself up, release the arm, so you open up the chest, and then cross the left arm underneath the right. Good, that's lovely. Hands onto the forehead, so you've got that connection. Now lift the elbows up, look up, it's a little bit of an arch in your back, and then you curl. Elbows in towards the chest, tucking the tailbone, and just breathe that space into the top of the back. Going back up, release the arms, and then take the hands forward, you're back in cat. That's it. Just pick up the feet and then just shake the feet out for a moment. I love shaking the feet. So just shake the feet, let the ankles waggle. And then relax the feet. From there, we're going to do that side stretch because I just still love it. So taking the hands over to the left. Now, the right hand can have the ball. Push into your hand so it's a side lying cat. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, tuck the tailbone, but not the toes. And then sit back on the heels. Once you're there in that side lying child pose, roll your right arm forward. You just take that stretch. Wherever it is on your right side, it's not wrong. So just roll that arm forward. And then relax the arm and come back up. So walk yourself around the other way, taking the ball with you if you've got one ball. So now the ball is going to be on the right hand side, but being held by the left hand. Draw your chest forward again, and then tuck the tailbone and go back. Once you're back, please roll your left hand forward if you wish, if there's space to intensify the stretch. And then relax that hand, come back up. We'll just set the balls out of the way and come back into cat pose. Now what I'd like to do is, hopefully you've got a bit of space around you. I want to try and take the leg out to the side in a moment. So hopefully that'll be, you do need a bit of space. Sorry about So a little bit of space. So what I'd like to do is, in your cat pose, slowly extend that right leg, and then think about tucking the tailbone, drawing the front of the ribs in and up, picking, so it's like rounding in the back, pushing the floor away, and then slowly float your right leg up without changing anything, pointing the toe as long as that feels okay, and then your left arm goes forward. So you're in cat balance at the moment, holding there. Have a go at taking your left arm out to the side, rolling your left shoulder forward so the arm spins forward, your palm will be facing up. Bend the elbow and then try not to touch your back as you bend the elbow above your back. It's hovering the arm above the back. Lightly tap your right shoulder blade and then release the arm. You're slowly rolling it forward. Feel that shoulder joint really moving. Reach your left arm forward, take the left hand to the floor. Tuck your toes, right toes, and then press back to stretch your right calf. As you press back to stretch the right calf, lift up the left knee, lift up the left foot, and then slowly bring your left knee forward and up in towards the chest. Take yourself back to plank. Lower the knees, and then bend the elbows, lower the chest. Come into a very small cobra. So first cobra, really small. Keep it comfortable, and then move back to child pose. So we're going to do the same thing again on the other side, but I want you to have a little rest of your wrists. So moving the hands, resting the wrists. And then come back into cat pose. So starting off, extend the left leg with the toes tucked, engaging into the core, and then float the left leg up, and then the right arm forward. So just holding there for a moment, slowly begin. So at the moment your right palm is facing inwards. As you take your right arm out to the side, the palm should be facing down. Roll the shoulder forward, the palm faces back, and then it's going to continue on, hopefully, to face up as you begin to bend the elbow, maybe tapping your left shoulder blade. Take the arm slowly out to the side, rolling the shoulder forward, and then you're back in cat balance. Take the hand to the floor. Lower your toes to the floor, left toes to the floor. Push your shoulders back, so good calf stretch there. Maintain the calf stretch as you lighten your left knee, your right knee, lighten your right knee, and then pick up your right foot and draw the knee in towards the chest. Extend the legs so you're in plank. Lower the knees, lower the chest, and then cobra. And then from there, child pose. Again, take some weight off your wrists, and it's quite a lot on the wrist, so just take the weight off the wrist, please. So we're going to start to take the leg out to the side, so both hands will be on the floor now. If you wanted to, you could do this with your hands on a ball, so it's optional, but if you want to give your change the way that you're connecting to the floor, why don't you put your hands underneath a ball? That's completely optional then. So from here, if you're in cat pose, maybe your hands are underneath a ball. Extend your right leg, but with the toes on the floor. And then what I'd like you to do is to take your right toes out to the side and try and bring them forward towards your right hand. And then slide the leg back. And do it again. So slide the right leg out to the side and forward, and then out to the side and back. One more time, out to the side and forward, out to the side and back, but cross it over this time. So take a little side stretch, maybe look over your left shoulder. Can you see your right foot? And then you take the leg out to the side and forward. Walk it in, creep that foot onto your mat now, because it might have not been on the mat. Just creep it forward, help it forward. So just stretch into that hamstring for a moment. And then you're going to take the leg out to the side again. This time you lift the leg up. I'm going to take the leg out to the side for the last time, but I'd like you to try and do it with the leg lifted. And it's only going to go out to be level with your left knee. So take the leg out to the side, right leg out to the side, lower the foot to the floor, and then sit back. If you tuck your left toes a little bit more comfortable, sit back on your left heel. Stretching the arms forward. So I've got my hands on a ball, so that allows me to roll my hands forward across the ball and take a slightly bigger stretch into the spine, but you can always walk your hands forward. So inner thigh, right inner thigh, and then come back up. Good. Just bring that knee in. It'll want to come in now. Bring it in. Good. So a little bit of everything. So maybe your hands are on the ball still, or maybe they're off. Doesn't really matter. But take the left, extend the left toes, and then with the toes very light on the floor, start to take that left foot forward. And then you take the left foot back. Just only 3 times. Left foot forward, and then left foot back. Left foot forward. Left foot back, but this time cross it over. So it's behind, it's gone over towards the right, the legs are crossed. And then nice and slowly look over your right shoulder. Can you see your left foot? So that's side stretch. And then take the leg out to the side and forward, but this time get it on the mat and just stay there for a moment. So stretching into the left hamstring for a moment. Then we slide the leg back, but this time you pick the leg up. And then we're going to take the leg out to the side, level with your right knee. Place it on the floor there, so it's quite far out to the side. Tuck your right toes and then sit back on your right heel. And then at this point, either creep your hands forward or roll your hands forward on the balls. And just go into this sort of, half of your body is doing a very deep wide leg forward fold. The other half of your body is doing child pose. Really stretch that inner thigh. It helps with the wide leg forward bend. And then we come back up, both hands on the ball, and then take that leg in. Now, if you were still on the balls, just move them out of the way. Push your hands down to the floor, tuck the toes, float your knees up, and then downward facing dog. Just stretch there for a moment, alternately bending the knees. Maybe you're twisting into the hips. Pushing down into the hands, send the heels away, draw the tummy in. So nice steady position in downward facing dog. From here you're actually going to go forward. You're going to walk your feet forward, exhale and fold. Roll the shoulders, now stretch your hamstrings again. So just either with the hands holding onto the elbows or hands at the back of the legs, back of the ankles. Just see how this feels. Really stretching, maybe bend the knees a couple of times and then straighten the legs. So full symmetry in the body. And then start to come up to standing slowly. So as you come up to standing, give the shoulders a nice roll. And then stand for a moment in mountain pose. Now, as you stand in mountain pose, just think about the feet. So really push the feet down into the floor, engage into the core, lifting the chest, drop the shoulders down. Start to walk on the spot, so shifting the weight left to right. And then see if you can introduce a heel raise. The stability of what the surface that you're on is not a bad thing if it's quite unstable or quite spongy. It makes your balance even more challenging. So just try it. So just finding your balance, eyes closed, finding the balance. That's it. So introducing a leg or foot hover if you can. And then switching to the other side if you haven't already. So foot hover. And then just relax for a moment, so to release any tension that may be held in the body after you're balancing. What I'd like you to do is to start to lift up your right knee. So hold on to your right knee, but on the front of the thigh. So the hand, your right hand is on the top of your right thigh. Now your left hand can be out to the side or resting on your left hip, but push your knee into your hand. So press your right knee up into your left hand as you hold there. So you're very sort of erect, tall, but you're holding. And then relax from that, but take the knee out to the side now. So I'm going to change the way I'm stood. I'm holding onto the knee from the inside to increase my range of motion in the hip in this position. So I'm using my hand to press my knee backwards. Standing up nice and tall. And then bring the knee in and drop the foot down. So you've got a reasonably long hold there. So try it on the other side. So starting up, lifting up that left knee. Place the left hand on the front of the left thigh. Take an inhale as you exhale, push down. And you're pressing up and pushing down at the same time. Equal resistance, holding. And then relax that effort. Slide your hand around the inside of the knee and then take the leg out to the side, pushing into your standing leg, lifting the chest up. Really try and push that knee backwards. And then bring the knee back into the center and lower the foot down to the floor. Just walk around for a moment. So we are going to do tree pose today, but just not quite yet. So what I'd like to do is to come towards the front of your mat. And then you're going to step your left foot back. Keep your right foot facing forward. Sorry, I don't know what I was saying. So you're going to come into warrior two. So bend deeply, just do a couple of bends deeply into your right knee. And then start to settle your body into warrior two, being aware if you're leaning forward. So you just want to try and be as upright as you can. And what you might want to do is just to be aware of that back left hip, just pushing forward a little bit. Tuck the tailbone, engage into the core, and then float the arms out to the side. As tension free as you can. Now what I'd like you to do is to turn your gaze to the right and then pick up, if you can, your right heel and go just that fraction deeper into your right knee lunge. So holding there, can you close your eyes, relaxing the hands and breathing. So warrior two. And then slowly lower the heel. Reach your hands forward and let your forearm rest on your right thigh. At this point, you may now, I would suggest you open your eyes. Take the left arm up into the air. Now, do you remember what we did when we were in cat pose with the arm movement? So we're going to go with that again. So you're going to take your arm over past the ear, left arm over past the ear, lift it up towards the ceiling, roll the shoulder forward, bending the elbow, and then tap your right shoulder blade. And then come out, rolling that shoulder, take the arm over past the ear. Again, take the arm up, roll the shoulder forward, bending the elbow, tap, release the arm, take the arm over past the ear. One more time, take the arm up, roll the shoulder forward, bend the elbow, tap the shoulder blade, and then lift the arm up and take the arm over past the ear. Now hold there, go a little bit deeper into the lunge if you can. If you want to take your right hand to the floor or to the ankle, do that as well. So extended side angle, and then lift your arm up, left arm goes up towards the ceiling, come into triangle. So all you have to do now is straighten that front leg, stretching the arms, and just find your triangle pose there. A little bit of a roll of the left hip forward, and then from here come back into warrior two, so your best warrior two. Take the arms out to the side, that's it, and hold. From there, drop the arms down, just relax for a moment, taking the feet to hip distance, feet, not hip distance apart, take the feet to parallel, hands onto the hips, lift the chest up, and then take a forward fold, but a very relaxed forward fold, just to release from those standing poses. So rolling the shoulder, move the head. Just take a couple of breaths there. And then come up halfway. Lift your fingers off the floor. So lighten your fingers off the floor. Lift your hands up. Now, if you can't take your arms out to the side, please take your hands onto your hips. But try and hold in this halfway position with your arms out to the side. And then just very briefly, take your right arm forward and your left arm back. So you're doing a side stretch again. And then come back to the middle and then try the other side. Left arm goes forward, right arm goes back. Come back to the middle, take the hands to the hips and come up to standing. Walk your feet in towards each other and then just simply step forward. Well done. So I'm going to face the other way now just to make it easier. So we're going to do the same thing again on the other side. So your left foot stays where it is and you take your right foot back. Now what I'd like to do is to come into warrior two, but through a few knee bends. So you're just bending into that left knee and then bend into the left knee, holding it steady and float your arms out to the side. Once you're in warrior two, so just nice and relaxed in the shoulders, close your eyes and then please float up your left heel if you can, but you don't have to. It's a more advanced option for you. So holding there, making sure you feel that you've got your tailbone long, tummy is drawing in. And then put the heel down on the floor. Reach forward, let your left forearm rest on your left thigh, and then your right arm goes up into the air. So open your eyes if you haven't already, and then take the arm over past the ear. That's it. And then we're going to do those rotations into the shoulder. So you lift your right arm up, roll your right shoulder forward, bending the elbow, tap your left shoulder blade, and then come back up again. Arm goes up, arm goes over past the ear. Try it again. So the arm goes up, you roll your shoulder forward, you bend your elbow, you tap, and then you go again. Arm over past the ear. One more time. Lift the arm up. Try and roll that shoulder forward, bending the elbow, tapping the opposite shoulder or coming towards that, and then release the arm, take the arm over past the ear. Now for a hold, so go a little bit deeper into your extended side angle if you can. So maybe you're releasing the left hand down to the floor, but sometimes it just feels too strong, so it doesn't matter. Take the arm up into the air, right arm up into the air, straighten your left leg, and then come into triangle pose. So adjust the foot position. I had to adjust my foot position, so don't worry if you've had to do that. Just coming into triangle, stretching the arms, extending, and then back to warrior two. Once you're in warrior two, straighten the legs, take the feet to parallel. So ready for Prasarita Padottanasana, so this wide leg forward fold position. Hands on the hips as you lift your chest up, and then slowly fold forward. Taking the fingertips down to the floor, tucking the head. And then just maybe alternately bend the knees, see how it feels, dropping the head down. So from here, what I'd like you to do is actually walk your hands forward towards your forward to the front of your mat. Doesn't matter whether it's the left foot forward or the right foot forward. And then step whichever foot it is back and come into downward facing dog. So it doesn't matter where you are, you're just now in downward facing dog. Come forward to plank, so wriggling the feet away, forward to plank, and then lower the knees and lower the chest all the way down to the floor, please. Wriggle the legs away, taking the hands either side of your chest, and then start to lift the head up, the head and the chest up, coming up into low cobra. And then lower down. So you might have thought that I was missing out the back stuff, but anyway, I switched it around today. So moving the hips from side to side, and then lifting up the head and the chest again. So watch your lower back when you're doing this. Always make sure that you can feel you are able to lengthen your lower back. And then release down again, moving the hips from side to side. And then again, lift the head and the chest up. Now this time, lift the legs up as well, if you feel comfortable to do so. So lifting. And then lower yourself down again, just so you can be still or you can move your hips. It doesn't matter, whatever works best for you. And then again, lifting up the head and the chest, lifting up the legs. Now lift the hands, just to hover, extend the arms back behind you to interlace, and then lifting the chest, the legs, and interlacing the hands. Send the knuckles down towards your heels as you hold this pose, so lifting, lengthening. How high can you get your knees away from the floor as you lengthen here? Releasing the hands. Let the arms go all the way forward so then they can form a cushion for your head as you release down. And just again, just nice relaxed movement into the shoulders. When you go into Sphinx pose, so from here, what I'd like you to do is just to come up onto your forearms. So pushing down, grounding the hands, and then tuck the tailbone, engage into your core and hold there. So a nice strong Sphinx pose there. So chest moves forward. That's it, lovely. And then try now to hover your elbows off the floor. So by that, it's not very high, you're pushing your hands down into the floor. This is a way of strengthening your wrists. The wrists are not flexing or anything like that, but you are stable down the length of the hands across the wrists. And then lower the elbows down. Just relax the hands for a moment. So maybe wriggle the fingers and then do it again. So take an inhale in Sphinx pose. and then hover your elbows off the floor. So pushing the hands down. And then start to straighten the arms if your back will do it. Don't worry if it doesn't. What I have to do is when I come into this, I'm really aware of my lower back, and I'm really aware of engaging into my core to protect my lower back, to keep the tucking of the tailbone. And then slowly lower your forearms down to the floor. And then rest your chest down on the floor. So then you rest your back for a moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to work into the hips a little bit in the Sphinx pose, where we take the leg out to the side. So you might need to move any equipment out of the way, please, and then come back into Sphinx pose. So hanging out in Sphinx pose, let your right knee go out to the side and try and really slide your right knee away from you so that the front of the hips is super flat. And then lift up the foot, the right foot, rolling your right thigh forward, and then drop the foot down. And then try that again. So you're lifting the foot and then you're dropping it down. Lifting the foot up and then drop the foot down. Keep the foot down now, try and relax. And then what I'd like you to do is to lift up your right elbow. So the right elbow goes up. Feed the left arm underneath the right elbow. So you're coming onto your left shoulder, the left side of the face, and then allow your body to go into this twist. So lifting up your right arm, let the right arm arc up, and then arms out to the side. Now if your knee is down, but your right shoulder is up, lift the knee a little bit so you can start to get the shoulder down on the floor. Pulling the tummy in, length into the lower back there. And then lift your right arm up and please take yourself back into Sphinx pose. So you straighten both the legs as you transition out. That's it. It's a really good movement, little sequence there. So then we're going to do the same thing again on the other side. So let your left knee go out to the side and try and slide it out. And then begin to lift your left foot, roll onto the front of the left thigh. So just doing this little movement into your left hip. And then release the foot down. Drawing the chest forward, pick up your left shoulder, your left elbow, and then feed your right arm underneath. So you're just taking that right shoulder across, and then you lean back into your right shoulder. The left arm goes up towards the ceiling, and it goes out. So open everything out to the side. Try and really ground, make every effort to ground your shoulders down. It doesn't matter how high up your left leg is. Try and keep it relaxed so you're using the weight of the left leg to create this twist in the body. And I'm going to come out. So start by lifting up your left arm, and then you're going to roll back into Sphinx. Now we're going to do that again, but in a slightly different way. So you're in Sphinx, let your right leg go out to the side, and then open slide that knee out of the way. Now, what we're going to do is you're going to use your left foot or left leg. What I'd like you to do is to start to bend. It's very small, just going to say it there. Start to bend your left knee and come onto the inside edge of your left foot. So the left leg is doing about 1% of what your right leg is doing. Does that make sense? So there's a pose called frog pose, which is horrendous. It's horrible on the knees, but this has got an essence of it. It's got that hip opening. So all you're doing is slightly externally rotating your left leg to reflect what your right leg is doing. And then push into your forearms and draw the chest forward. And then relax the effort on the left leg. So straighten that left leg and then straighten the right leg. And we're going to try it again on the other side. So it's not a big movement. So you let your left leg go fully out to the side. And then what I'd like you to do is, so you use your toes, right toes will help you. Just come slightly onto the inside of your right knee and the inside of your right foot. Just until you feel that hip opening intensifying. Again, it's not a big movement. So just holding there, pushing down into your forearms there, so you're in Sphinx pose. Blue. And then you relax, relaxing first the right leg and then the left leg. Take yourself fully down onto the floor and just move the hips from side to side. And then from here we're going to go back into child pose, which should be just about exactly what you want to do. So taking the arms alongside the chest, pick the chest up, and then nice and slowly take yourself back to child pose. So let the hips and let the lower back settle. And then come up briefly to kneeling. And what I'd like you to do is to go over onto your left hip. So taking the right foot, go over onto your right hip. I'm going to mirror you. Go onto your right hip, taking your right foot just in front of your left knee. And just sitting up for a moment. So engaging into the core, lifting out to the side of the waist, and then turn towards your right knee. The right hand's back behind. Turn towards that right knee and then twist. And just look over your right shoulder. And you can pick up the left hip. So let the left hip become part of the twist. And then come back to face the front. Good. Lean back into the hands and then go to the other way. So it's just nice and gentle. If you're in this side seated position, you're more on the left side. And then turn towards that left knee, the left thigh. Right, left hand's back behind and then twist there, but let your right hip lift and go with the twist. Tucking the tailbone, engaging into your core. Come back into the middle. Lean back into the hands again. Now swap the legs around, but this time you're going to bend your right knee and straighten the left leg. Again, it's not going to be a big movement. We're going to do, this is called Parvriti Janu Sirsasana, so it's revolved head to knee pose. What I'd like you to do is to let your right hand just go on somewhere along the inner edge of your left hand go to the inner edge of your left leg, the straight leg. Dropping your left shoulder. And then I'd like to have your right hand on the QL area, that back of the side of the waist. So have that right hand there. And then push a little bit into your left hand as you rotate your chest. So that it's going in the direction of the right knee, but also up towards the ceiling with your hand on the QL. Keep your hand there. So you're kind of like letting that awareness be in that area with the hand. So the hand is there for reassurance and for the connection. And then all I'd like you to do is to drop your left ear to your left shoulder. So this may not be the strongest, it won't be the strongest version you've done of this before. Just let that left ear go to the left shoulder, and then try and lengthen your right shoulder away from the right ear. So you should feel that you've got a stretch all the way down the right side line of the body. And then re-engage the neck, come up, twist towards your left leg, just nice and slow, and then fold down the left leg. So slightly different, but again, keep it gentle. And then we come up. And we do the same thing again on the other side. So you change the legs around. So now you should have your left knee bent and your right leg straight. Quite a nice gap between the knees. And then just let your right hand go somewhere along the inner seam of your right leg. And then you do this little twist towards the bent knee. You might not go down very far, and it's not about that. It's just trying to slowly lower your left shoulder toward your, I'll keep getting it wrong, your right shoulder towards your right knee, and then have your left hand on the QL on the side of the back. It's sort of, the palm is spread there. There may be warmth in the palm, which is also nice. And then let your right ear go towards your right shoulder, and then try and lengthen your left shoulder away from your left ear. So the stretch is on the left side of the body. Breathing there. Change the angle of the chin if you're not getting much of a stretch. But I don't want it to be a super strong stretch. I want it to be a really nice, controlled stretch where there's no compression at all. Where you're just hanging out, letting the head relax, letting the neck relax. Space between that left ear and the left shoulder. And then we come up slowly, so re-engage the neck, come up. So as you come up, you might discover actually it was a bit stronger than you thought. And then you're going to orientate yourself down now over your right leg. So Janya Sirsasana in its more traditional form, you fold forward and you stay there. And breathing into it, so really calm, nice and relaxed in the shoulders and the neck. And then come up. And just sitting up for a moment. Just take a moment, you might like be absolutely not zonked out now. See how things feel, lean back into the hands. Let the legs go straight. Shaking out the legs, bend the knees and then lean your chest forward. Taking the hands to the feet or hands to the ankles or hands to the floor. Inhaling, and then as you exhale, slide your heels forward. And just coming into a seated forward fold. So relaxing the head, moving the head, so there's no tension in your shoulders, no tension in the neck. You're just pulling the sitting bones back as you draw your chest forward. So last few breaths in the seated forward fold. From here we're going to come up to seated. So you might choose just to keep your legs straight out or cross the legs if the hips feel up to it today. And you could also be in this sort of more casual seated position. Again, it's a little bit softer on the knees. We're just sitting for a moment, lifting up, lift the chest up, and just take some breath there. Letting the shoulders relax and the neck relax. And then slowly let the chin drop down. Take the hands to heart center in prayer position, please. Pressing the palms together and blink the eyes open if they were closed. And then begin to lift up the gaze. Well done. Namaste. Well done. I hope that was okay. So there's a bit of sideline work, a little bit of neck releasing as well. So it's sort of like all the way down that sideline today. Here we are. I hope my dog wasn't too disruptive either. He was in and out the whole time. You all right? You probably didn't notice because you were like all concentrating, but he was in and out. Anyway, is that okay?
The sun on the screen, Emma, can hardly see you at all here. So.
Oh no, is that because the door was open? Oh no, you. Oh no, you. Okay.
It's so bright.
But you could hear me though, couldn't you, Ian?
Yeah, it's all over here. It's brilliant.
Sunbathe. Anyway, I hope you have a lovely day. Enjoy the sunshine. Yeah.
Ignore my message, Emma. I didn't have any connection, which is why I couldn't join the meeting.
Oh.
I can't join. That's why I was late coming on. It's because my iPad didn't have any connection, so apologies.
Okay.
Ignore that.
All right. Okay, I will do. All right. Thanks, Sue.
Great, Emma.
Bye, Sue.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, I'll see you later, I think.
I'm going to a meeting.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So you'll see Richard.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, but see you next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye.